Infrastructure week, which means a lot of stuff is happening that has nothing to do with infrastructure. Michael Avenatti is probably going to prison, and Quentin Tarantino stands up for himself. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. The news cycle grows ever more ridiculous, and we'll get to all of it. But first, in quarter one, gold purchases by central banks were the highest in 6 years. I'll bet you did not know that, considering how good the economy is. But in the face of the dollar's declining stature, what exactly are you doing to protect your savings? Become your own central bank. Move some of your savings to gold. Can you afford another hit to your retirement, like the last downturn when the S&P dropped 50%? Hedge against inflation, hedge against uncertainty and instability with precious metals. Some of the economic indicators are looking a little volatile these days. Gold is a safe haven against uncertainty. My savings plan is diversified, and yours should be too. Doesn't mean take all your money and stick it under the mattress. It means you should have some money in precious metals. The company I trust with precious metal purchases is Birch Gold Group. Right now, thanks to a little-known IRS tax law, you can even move that IRA or eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold and silver, which could be good for people who want to protect their hard-earned retirement savings from future geopolitical uncertainty. Look back historically, when the bottom falls out of everything else, gold does tend to safeguard savings. It has never been worth zero. Birch Gold Group are the folks I trust. They have thousands of satisfied customers, countless 5-star reviews. Contact Birch Gold Group, get a free information kit on physical precious metals. See if diversifying into gold and silver makes sense for you. Go check them out right now. And if you want that no-obligation kit, they have a 16-page kit. Text Ben to 474747. Again, text Ben, my name, to 474747 for that no-cost, free of obligation, 16-page comprehensive kit about whether to invest in gold or not. Check it out. Text Ben to 474747 and talk to my friends at Birch Gold. Alrighty, so yesterday, the big news, obviously, was that President Trump had a big blow-up with Nancy Pelosi. This all sort of launched with Nancy Pelosi accusing President Trump of engaging in a cover-up preemptively. Now, she's still not clear exactly what it is that Trump is covering up. And this is the part that nobody seems willing to discuss. What exactly is Trump covering up? So Trump obviously doesn't want to cooperate with Congress because he's ticked off that they won't leave him alone. Maybe he wants to cover up, presumably, his finances. Maybe he just doesn't want them digging into his personal affairs. But they have actually not accused him of any criminal activity. They can't explain what it is he is trying to cover up at this point. Like, at least in Watergate, you knew what Nixon was trying to cover up. He was trying to cover up whether or not he knew about the Watergate break-in. And that was the cover-up. The cover-up was of a crime. What is the crime that Democrats are accusing President Trump of? We've already had the Mueller report. The Mueller report concluded with no crime, no finding of criminal activity. And Democrats are still accusing Trump of engaging in a cover-up. Now, maybe he's trying, as I say, to cover up material that is non-criminal in nature, but that is not a quote-unquote cover-up. That is him just trying to not disclose to the public stuff that is embarrassing. So it's a cover-up in sort of a colloquial sense, but in a legal sense, it's not a cover-up. Normally, when people say something is a cover-up, what they mean is that you are covering for illegal activity. But if I don't want you to know what I got my wife for her birthday, and you subpoena information about that, and I say no, I suppose that's a cover-up, but not really in the way that the Democrats mean it. Here's Nancy Pelosi accusing Trump of engaging in a cover-up without actually alleging a crime.
It was a very positive meeting, a respectful sharing of ideas, and I think a very impressive presentation by our chairs. We do believe that it's important to follow the facts. We believe that no one is above the law, including the President of the United States, and we believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up, and that was the nature of the meeting.
Okay, so this set off President Trump. She accused Trump of engaging in a cover-up right before she headed off to the White House. And she played this effectively as well as she could, because what she did was she set Trump off, which was her goal. And the goal of somebody like Pelosi, who's trying to troll Trump, is to make Trump look as though he is volatile. As I said a couple of days ago on the show, the Democratic strategy for 2020 is not to suggest that America is going badly, because America isn't really going badly. The economy is going pretty well. We don't have any serious foreign crises on the horizon. All of that is true. So instead, what they have to do is paint President Trump as uniquely volatile. That is a fruitful line of attack because the president, on a personal level, does happen to be a volatile individual. And so the sole goal of Democrats from now until 2020 is going to make Trump look as unpredictable as possible, to make people feel disquieted with him, to make him look as though he is reacting in extreme fashion to things. And that's exactly what they accomplished yesterday. So Trump walks into a meeting supposedly about infrastructure, and then he walks right out. He apparently told the members of the meeting that he was not interested in negotiating with them on infrastructure so long as they were trying to investigate him for the possibility of impeachment. apparently he walked in, according to a White House official, he walked into the cabinet room, and Nancy Pelosi was there, and so was Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I've never understood exactly why Trump is having these meetings with Schumer and Pelosi. Why not just have the meeting with Pelosi and Mitch McConnell? Mitch McConnell is a clever politician who will be able to provide the opposition necessary to Pelosi without Trump actually having to do it himself. It makes more sense if you're negotiating an infrastructure bill to have, the heads of the various branches of the legislature. You want the head of the House and the head of the Senate, not the Democratic head of the House and the Democratic head of the Democratic Party in the Senate, which is a minority. In any case, Trump walks into this meeting, and according to CNBC, he effectively said to the visiting Democrats he wanted to do infrastructure, but, quote, "You're focusing on investigating. When you're done, we can talk. Meeting over." And then Trump walked out onto the lawn over at the Rose Garden, and he had a podium that was fixed up with a placard that said on it, $35 million spent, 2,000 interviews, 18 angry Democrats, no collusion, no obstruction. He had this, I kid you not, pasted on the front of the podium, which is really great. I mean, it looked like something out of Wheel of Fortune. I mean, it was a Bob Barker move by President Trump. So the president gets up behind that podium, supposedly spontaneously, and then proceeds to rip into the Democrats.
I just saw that Nancy Pelosi, just before our meeting, made a statement that we believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up. Well, it turns out I'm the most, and I think most of you would agree to this, I'm the most transparent president probably in the history of this country. Things are going well, and I said, let's have the meeting on infrastructure. We'll get that done easily. That's one of the easy ones. And instead of walking in happily into a meeting, I walk in to look at people that had just said that I was doing a cover-up. I don't do cover-ups. You people know that probably better than anybody.
My favorite part of this particular quote from President Trump is him appealing to the media who hate his guts. You guys know more than anybody that I'm super transparent. Yeah, those media members, those are not your friends, as President Trump obviously knows. And when he says that he doesn't engage in cover-ups, I mean, we do have a signed check from you to Stormy Daniels, so there is that, right? But that's not the kind of cover-up that Nancy Pelosi is talking about. What he means is, I'm not covering up for any criminal activity, and there's no evidence that I am, which is obviously true to this point. I mean, we've seen no evidence of actual criminal activity at this point in time. So people on the right are saying that President Trump was right to do this, that he's right to walk out. I think it's justifiable for him to walk out. I am not sure that it is the smartest move for him to walk out. As an aficionado of walkouts, I can say that I think that the President of the United States, he has a case here, and an emotional case here. I don't know that it is his best play. The reason I say that is because right now, if you look at the polling data, President Trump is not popular enough to be reelected. I mean, just by polling data, he needs to raise his numbers. He could be reelected in spite of the polling data. He did pull a rabbit out of the hat last time. But these are not good numbers for an incumbent president. There's a new poll from Monmouth University released on Wednesday. It found that only 37% of voters believe that President Trump should be reelected. Fully 60% say they think it's time to have somebody new in the White House. That is the highest percentage of voters saying they are eager for a change since Monmouth first began asking the question last November. His approval rating is currently at 40% positive, 52% negative. That is at the low end of his approval ratings for the past 12 months. The poll also found deep pessimism about the direction of the country. 29% of respondents saying the U.S. is on the right track, 63% saying it was headed in the wrong direction. Those are astonishing numbers given the fact that the economy is this good. 56% of voters, however, say that President Trump should not be impeached and compelled to leave office. 39% support impeachment and removal. So here is where we are, and it's a weird political situation. What Democrats want to do is not impeach him, but to continue people feeling really uncomfortable with Trump. So anything that exacerbates that feeling of discomfort with President Trump is what Democrats are going to push at this point, short of impeachment. They don't want to impeach him because they feel like he's easier to beat in an election than to effectively impeach. I mean, it'll get to the Senate. He's not going anywhere. According to polls, most Americans want the end of the Russia investigation. So 53% of Americans say that we should drop these investigations on Russia and move on to other issues. And 58% of Americans feel like they've heard enough about the Mueller report. But among Democrats, 95% of Democrats say that the Trump administration should coordinate and cooperate with the congressional investigation. 77% of independents say that the president should. 54% of Republicans say that he should. So, in other words, the American people are split. They do not want impeachment. They're not super interested in the investigations, but they also don't want to see the president appear to be stonewalling. And so the president's best move here is to, sure, protest that this is a giant waste of time, but for him to play above the fray would actually be in his benefit right now. It would be politically beneficial for the president of the United States, instead of walking out of negotiations on infrastructure, it would be politically beneficial for him to sit down and simply say in front of the cameras, you should open it up. He should open it up in front of the cameras. He should say, listen, Nancy, you've been saying some very nasty and unjustified things about me. You don't have evidence that I've done anything criminal. You yourself have said that you're not interested in impeaching me. So this is all politically motivated stuff. Now let's get down to business and let's do infrastructure. Right? That would be the way to do this. Instead, it now appears that the president is holding infrastructure hostage in order to get them to end investigations into him personally, which is exactly what Democrats wanted him to do. But I think that the president did politically walk into a trap. After thinking about this for 24 hours, again, I have a lot of sympathy for the president here. The president was ambushed by Democrats. There's no question. And on an emotional level, I get it. I get him saying, listen, I'm not working with you guys. You're jerks. Out. Totally get that. On a political level, it would be better for the president for him to walk in, and better for Trump, for him to walk in and say to Democrats, listen, you guys are being jerks. You guys are being terrible. You're driving all of this partisan political nonsense. I'm going to try to work with you anyway because that's how magnanimous I am. Magnanimity in the face of cruelty is very often a winning political strategy. We'll get to more of this in just a second. First, I need to talk to you about one of my favorite companies, the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, the USCCA. It's an organization that helps educate, train, and legally protect responsibly armed Americans. They truly stand up for the rights of citizens like you and like me. Their work helps make sure that this country will always stay free and safe. If you want to find out more, just text the word WIN to 87222 right now. There's no catch. Your information is always kept safe. Plus, as a special bonus, the USCCA will give you 10 free chances to win $1,000 when you text in, which is a pretty awesome deal. Just think. That could mean 10 chances to put towards something like an AR-15 for free. You heard me. You could pick up a brand new AR-15 just by texting the word WIN to 87222. And the USCCA wants to make sure if you're a law-abiding citizen that you have a chance to own arms. On top of your 10 entries to win, the first 3,000 people to text in will also be sent a free concealed carry guide just for entering, which means you can find out how to better protect yourself, your loved ones, your rights, and you might get a new gun. This special offer ends May 31st, so don't wait. Text WIN to 87222 and find out more. Get your free guide. USCCA is a great organization, great educational materials, great legal materials. Text WIN to 87222 to get involved. WIN to 87222. Alrighty, so the Democrats obviously are playing this up to the hilt. So now they're playing the reverse, which is we're investigating Trump because Trump is deeply corrupt and deeply evil. Also, we are magnanimous. We want to get infrastructure done. That's a position that Trump should have taken. He should have said Democrats are partisan hacks. Also, I still want to work with them to get things done. And if they refuse to get things done, that would be on them. The president looking magnanimous and Democrats in Congress looking wild-eyed should be what President Trump is looking for in terms of a political outcome. Instead, I think he sort of achieved a little bit of the reverse yesterday. Here's Chuck Schumer yesterday, the Senate Minority Leader, saying, we believe in infrastructure. But President Trump is intransigent and mean.
To watch what happened in the White House would make your jaw drop. We Democrats believe in infrastructure. And so, despite signals in the previous few weeks that he might not be serious, we went forward. We came here very seriously. We were interested. We are interested in doing infrastructure. It's clear the president isn't. He is looking for every excuse.
Okay, so this is the typical Democratic play here, is that the president doesn't want infrastructure, that he's walking away from the deal. Now, again, I think the president probably would love an infrastructure bill. It would be another thing that he can brag about. I'm not in favor of an infrastructure bill. I think a lot of congressional Republicans aren't in favor of spending trillions of dollars on infrastructure concerns that are generally not needed on the federal level and can be handled appropriately at the state level. But again, the angle the Democrats have taken here is a smart political angle. Here's Nancy Pelosi shedding crocodile tears over all of this after saying that the president engaged in a cover-up, deliberately trying to provoke him into a blow-up, and then the blow-up happens. Then she says, no, we went there with the spirit of bipartisanship in our hearts. God, she's grating.
Hopeful, optimistic, and seeing the necessity for a big infrastructure initiative for our country, we went in the spirit of bipartisanship to find common ground with the president on this. He came into the room, made a statement that he made was, I won't even characterize it. He just took a pass. And it just makes me wonder why he did that. In any event, I pray for the President of the United States.
Sure.
And I pray for the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow, what a grave crisis we have that we're not passing a crap infrastructure bill with Nancy Pelosi's help. I pray for, yeah, I'm sure that Nancy gets on her knees every night and prays for the president. Yeah, I'm sure that's a thing that's real. And in a second, I'm going to show you how cynical this play is by Democrats, because it actually is. This is a deeply cynical play by Democrats. So the same Nancy Pelosi, who's there saying we went to the White House with the spirit of bipartisanship, 5 minutes after saying the president was engaged in a cover-up without any evidence that the president has covered up illegal activity, then she got out there and she ridiculed President Trump.
Today was the day he was supposed to tell us what he would be willing to support and pay for all of that. Instead, in an orchestrated, almost to a oh poor baby point of view, he came into the room and said that I said that he was engaged in a cover-up and he couldn't possibly engage in a conversation or an infrastructure as long as we are investigating him. And we thought we had some level of agreement, but you never know with this President of the United States. So that's what happened this morning. It was very, very, very strange.
Very strange, because he's a strange man. He's volatile. Again, this is what Democrats were looking for, and they got it. This was a cynical play by Democrats, and it happened to work. I don't blame the president on an emotional level for doing what he did. Politically speaking, was it the smartest move? Probably not. Again, it gives Democrats room to run, because the image that they are trying to paint of President Trump is that he is a volatile character. Maxine Waters is out there still prodding at the president, saying that Trump is going to back down. In the end, he's going to back down. He's taking this strong position on no negotiation with Democrats, and he's a coward, so he'll back down. This is Democrats trying to troll Trump. Now, Trump is a master troll. He is great at getting under Democrats' skin. The problem is that they are effectively getting under his skin at this point. Here's Maxine Waters trying to do just that.
As I think about this threat that he made today, and I'm thinking about who really benefits from infrastructure, not only will the citizens of this country benefit if we're able to fix the roads and the bridges and the waterways and all of that, but he's got a lot of friends that I believe in construction and development and who would also benefit. So he may have to back off of that.
Right. So we want to do infrastructure, and he's just mean, and he's just cruel. Now, as I say, the Democrats here are incredibly cynical. They're incredibly cynical. If President Trump would have walked into the room and said, here's my infrastructure package, they would have walked out of the room, and they would have said, we can't negotiate with a corrupt, evil president, right? That's what would have happened. They would have said that he's under investigation, and we're not going to help him, and then there would have been no deal. No deal is in the offing. The fact is that unlike the Republicans under Newt Gingrich with Bill Clinton, who were willing to move to the center with Bill Clinton on a variety of topics ranging from Glass-Steagall to welfare reform, Democrats have been absolutely unavailing in their unwillingness to work with President Trump. They just are not willing to do it. They're looking for an excuse, in other words, to beat up on President Trump. Stephen Colbert, who is the it of the Democratic Party at this point, so much commentating on late night television. Here was Stephen Colbert yesterday mocking President Trump for walking out.
According to people in the room, Trump walked in, didn't shake anyone's hand or take a seat, and left before anyone else could speak. All told, it was over in 3 minutes. According to Stormy Daniels, that's 2 bonus minutes. Now, Trump walked out the door straight to the Rose Garden for a nationally televised hissy fit, complete with a podium adorned with a pre-printed sign that said, "No collusion, no obstruction." So Trump has a clear stance on infrastructure. It's my way or no highways.
Okay, this is the pitch that Democrats are making. Now, as I say, this is super cynical. It's not that Democrats are deeply invested in infrastructure, and it's not even that Democrats are deeply invested in impeachment or investigations. They're invested in the creation of an image about President Trump. So take Nancy Pelosi as an example. Here is Nancy Pelosi yesterday saying that maybe the President Trump is impeachable. Maybe he ought to be impeached. Here's the Speaker of the House.
The fact is, in plain sight, in the public domain, this president is obstructing justice, and he's engaged in a cover-up. And that could be an impeachable offense. It's not just the substance that we're after, and we want to have to give the truth to the American people. But in striving to get that, the intervention that the obstruction that the administration is engaged in is, as they say, the cover-up is frequently worse than the crime.
Okay, so she's admitting right there is no crime. She's focusing on obstruction, which is not occurring, by the way. There is no legal obstruction that occurs when the executive branch says we are not going to turn over records to the legislative branch. That is not obstruction under any possible definition of obstruction of justice in criminal law. And Nancy Pelosi knows this. So on the one hand, she wants to say that Trump is impeachable. On the other hand, she says, I don't think we're going to get any new information from impeachment hearings. She's saying this stuff in the same interview.
The press is just totally obsessed with the impeachment part of it, not obsessed enough to write the particulars of what we're doing in our committees and how important that is, but just to say, when are you going to do that? To your point, I'm not sure that we get any more information by instituting an impeachment inquiry, but if we thought that we would, that's a judgment that we would have to make.
It's a cynical play. She's trying to create an image of Trump. She doesn't have the stones to actually push impeachment because Democrats don't want to push impeachment. Even Adam Schiff, who President Trump has termed a pencil neck, even Adam Schiff, the congressman from out here in California from my district, Schiff says, listen, we're not interested in impeachment. This is the guy who went on TV every night for 2 years and claimed that President Trump was a cat's paw for the Russians. Here's Adam Schiff.
I do think that notwithstanding all of that, that there is a valid argument to be made that if you fail to bring an impeachment, even knowing it would be unsuccessful, but if you fail to bring an impeachment, what does that say about this president's conduct and whether he is fit for office? And so I do think that has to be weighed, though, against the other concern, which is what does an acquittal say? Because then you have an adjudication that this conduct is not an impeachable offense.
Okay, so in other words, we don't want to impeach. We just want to paint a picture of Trump as a bad guy, but we don't want to impeach James Clyburn, who's the House Majority Whip. He came forth, he said, a majority of Democrats are not in favor of impeachment, a majority of Democrats. So this is all just a cynical game. It's a cynical game. And what President Trump should do is he should point out it's a cynical game. They don't want to impeach me. These investigations are all a partisan misdirect. And I am focused on the business of the American people, which is why I'm even sitting here with people who insult me to my face every single day. Right? That would have been the best move for him yesterday, as opposed to the storming out and the Rose Garden press conference and all the rest of it. Here's James Clyburn saying just this.
How many Democrats in your caucus do you think would support the opening of an impeachment inquiry?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. The vast majority would, in fact, support impeachment, just not now. The issue now is whether or not that is something that should be done today or tomorrow, or whether or not we go through a process by which we build a foundation upon which to successfully impeach the president.
It's a no. That's a no. So Democrats are not interested in impeachment because they can read the polls just like everybody else can, but they are interested in making it seem like the president is impeachable without natural offense. In just a second, I want to talk about why Democrats are playing this game as opposed to, playing the policy game. But first, let's talk about something we can all agree on, saving money. The reality is, if you're not shopping around, you're probably not saving money. So what if there was a way for somebody to do the shopping around for you? Well, that's exactly what Honey does. Honey is a free tool that you download to your computer's browser. While you shop online, Honey scans the internet for coupon codes and other discounts, and then it automatically applies the coupon with the biggest savings to your cart at checkout. Just like magic. It takes zero effort to install. Just 2 clicks, you are ready to start saving anytime you shop online. There's really no reason not to use Honey. It's free to use, easy to install on your computer in just 2 clicks. Don't take it from me, take it from our listeners. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Ben. That is joinhoney.com/Ben. Honey, it's the smart shopping assistant that saves you time and money. I use Honey all the time. I've got it running in the background of my computer. I shop at Amazon all the time, and Honey has saved me an untold amount of money. It's great. I mean, you literally do nothing, and then it saves you money by applying all the coupon codes that it can find. Go to joinhoney.com/Ben. That is joinhoney.com/Ben. There's no reason to miss out on saving money. Joinhoney.com/Ben. Go check them out right now. So the reason that Democrats are focused like a laser beam on creating this image of President Trump is because on policy, they are far too radical for the American people. Yesterday was replete with examples of this. So there's one Democrat who actually had her portion of the congressional record wiped out. Like they actually went out and they struck this, I believe, from the congressional record. Her name is Underwood, this particular representative. And she was confronting DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and CBP, the Border Patrol, and she accused them of wanting children crossing the border to die. She's accusing members of the U.S. government who are tasked with keeping Americans safe of wanting and purposely killing migrant children. It's an amazing, amazing clip.
People keep dying, and so this is obviously more than a question of resources. But at this point, with 5 kids that have died, 5,000 separated from their families, I feel like, and the evidence is really clear, that this is intentional. It's intentional. It's a policy choice being made on purpose by this administration, and it's cruel and inhumane.
That's an appalling accusation, and our men and women fight hard to protect people in our custody every single day.
It is an appalling accusation. This is the face that Democrats want to present. Yeah, this is where President Trump should be putting his focus, not on the investigations, not on the impeachment stuff. It's going nowhere. The media will run with it, but it's done no significant damage to Trump. His approval ratings have been almost exactly the same for his entire presidency. They've always been between 40 and 44%. Occasionally they rise above that, but the reality is that he has been extraordinarily stable in terms of what people think of him. What is not stable is what people think of Democrats. How is the administration not already running with an ad of this lady saying this? With an ad showing people crossing the border illegally in Tijuana, trying to rush that border, and then this lady saying that CBP are a bunch of cruel, inhumane bastards who are trying to kill migrant children. That, by the way, is Representative Lauren Underwood of Illinois, and the person she's speaking to is Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan. That is such an astonishing and evil statement by her, that this is intentional, that CBP is trying to kill these kids. It's absurd. You know who's denying beds for the kids, by the way? It's Democrats. President Trump and the Trump administration have been asking. The New York Times itself said that Democrats should go along with this, the editorial board. Republicans have been asking for more beds, more funding for facilities along the border, and Democrats have been turning that down. Instead, people are being housed in not great conditions, specifically because they don't have the funding that is necessary thanks to Democratic intransigence. And all the migrants who are dying, the 5 migrant deaths she's talking about, these are kids who are being brought in who haven't been fed in 3 days, haven't had any water, and by the time they reach CBP, it's too late for CBP to do anything. By and large, that is what is happening here. It's not CBP throwing kids into cages and then starving them to death. What a despicable, evil statement. Now, President Trump has something to run on here. This is the stuff President Trump can be running on, actual policy. Not all of this talk about, I understand. Listen, if it were me and I were under attack all day by the Democrats, any human being would want to fight back against that the way that President Trump is fighting back against. Really, I truly believe this. Any human being who's under the sort of assault that President Trump is right now would be just as angry as President Trump is if you believed you were innocent. Okay, but that is not where he's going to make his political hay. He's going to win political victory on the back of Democrats being extraordinarily extreme. Katie Pavlich has an article over at Town Hall today talking about murders by MS-13. She says 2 illegal aliens, one who came to the United States in 2015 as part of a family unit, and the other unaccompanied in 2016, were released by the Prince George's County Police Department after being charged with attempted first-degree murder and other crimes. Upon release, they then killed 14-year-old girl Ariana Fuentes-Diaz and dumped her body in a creek. Prince George's County, which contains Baltimore, is a sanctuary for illegal aliens. Both are members of the extremely violent gang MS-13. ICE released a statement. They said, following the recent arrest of 2 unlawfully present teens suspected in the violent murder of a young girl in Maryland, ICE officers in Baltimore are again seeking to take custody of the illegal aliens through the ICE detainer process following the Prince George's County Detention Center failure to cooperate. In other words, Baltimore refused to basically turn these folks over under an ICE detainer request. That is what President Trump should be running on. And Democrats simultaneously claiming that our Border Patrol officers who are risking life and limb to protect the country every day, that those Border Patrol officers are actually emissaries of evil who wish to kill children. Seems to me that would be worth running on. Or maybe you run against the Democrats on abortion. Nancy Pelosi basically just suggested that anyone who is pro-life is a white man who fears a woman. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, our wonderful moderate Speaker of the House who just wants to get infrastructure done for the good of the people and prays for President Trump and the country every night. Here's what she thinks of white guys.
This is about lack of respect for women. This is about some fear that is in our community, our society, about women having the ability to have the size and timing of their families, working with their husbands, with their doctors, with their God, whatever it is. When you see them lined up in the floor of the house, guys, just white guys, signing for their discharge petition in a way that really doesn't even represent the truth of what they are.
And they're white guys who fear women. That's the case the Democrats want to make. Trump can certainly run against that. Or how about Ilhan Omar, the beloved representative who appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone with Nancy Pelosi and who has spent a vast bevy of her time in Congress rebutting allegations of anti-Semitism because she keeps saying unfortunate Jew-hating things. Here's Ilhan Omar attacking every conservative in America by suggesting that if you are pro-life, it's because you're actually a secret religious fanatic who wants to keep women under your thumb. This is coming from Ilhan Omar. Okay, here she says.
Let's just be honest. For the religious right, this isn't simply about their care or concern for life. If they cared about or were concerned about children, they would be concerned about the children that are being detained and those that are dying in camps across our borders. Or the children who are languishing in hunger and facing homelessness.
Okay, so it's that pro-life people don't actually care about children. They're just Christian fanatics. They're evil. They're evil. Okay, that President Trump has such a great thing to run on his economic record and such a great thing to run against Nancy Pelosi and Ilhan Omar and Representative Underwood. He has a lot to run against. What he can't do is get distracted by what Democrats are trying to distract him with to make him appear volatile, to play to his worst instincts, and that is all the investigation kind of stuff. Now, again, I have emotional sympathy for the president. I'll explain why I have emotional sympathy, not only for the president on this, but also for a lot of Republicans who say, yeah, I'm glad President Trump is just punching back. I'll explain in just a second. First, what if buying a house was like buying a timeshare? You show up with a herd of other people that also wanted the free gift, and then you're in a pressure cooker sales presentation for 90 minutes or 3 hours. You don't have the opportunity to have your real estate agent professionally negotiate the price. There's no inspector to uncover hidden problems, no loan officer to explain every detail of the loan terms, interest rate, fees, payment schedule, total cost. Folks, you wouldn't buy a home this way. That's exactly how the majority of timeshares are sold. If you are stuck in a timeshare, if you called the resort, they won't let you out. If you've tried selling it and you can't, call Timeshare Exit Team. They will fight for you. I trust them. I know the folks who founded it. You can trust them too. Text BEN to 797979 for a free consultation. That is BEN to 797979. A lot of these timeshares, man, you're stuck there. You paid like $20,000 for a week, and then you have annual upkeep fees, and you can't use it many of the weeks that you want it, and then you can't get rid of it because these things are on, like, it's impossible to sell them. You need to talk to my friends at Timeshare Exit Team. Text my name, Ben, to 797979 for that free consultation. There's no reason why you should continue to suffer under this particular burden. Message and data rates may apply. The folks at Timeshare Exit Team have helped over 16,000 people get out of their timeshares. They can help you as well. Text BEN to 797979 for that free consultation. And here's the good news. I mean, if they can't do anything for you, they're not going to charge you. Text BEN to 797979 for that free consultation. Okay, I want to get to sort of the emotional reason why many Republicans are fine with President Trump punching back at Democrats on impeachment and on all the rest of this in just 1 second. First, you should go over and subscribe over at dailywire.com. For $9.99 a month, you get the rest of this show. You get 2 additional hours of the show every day. You also get our Sunday special on Saturdays. Our Sunday special this week features former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Here's a little bit of what that sounded like.
We are imperfect. But compared to any other society I'm aware of, we have a stronger system of freedom, a greater capacity for people to rise, and a greater awareness that anybody can come from anywhere and become an American.
The conversation with Speaker Gingrich is really good. It covers an enormous amount of ground. We talk about everything from President Trump's record to his possibilities of re-election. We talk about Newt Gingrich's own record as Speaker of the House, when impeachment is appropriate, when impeachment is not appropriate. It really gets into some deep water. So you're going to want to check that out. When you subscribe, you get that on Saturday as opposed to Sunday, and you get our extra questions behind the paywall, which is pretty awesome. Also, when you get the annual subscription, you get this, the very greatest in beverage vessels, the Leftist Tears hot or cold tumbler. Go check that out right now. It is indeed spectacular and will fill you with just a certain sense of emotional fulfillment and joy that I'm not sure that you can get anywhere else. Maybe you can, but not from us. In any case, if you want to work here, there's also an opportunity for you to do that. Our business is growing rapidly. That means we are excited to be offering more opportunities to become part of our in-house team. Head on over to dailywire.com/careers. See if any of our job openings would be right for you or someone you know. We are expanding quickly, and we have a lot of great jobs available. If you want to work for the show, go over to dailywire.com/careers. Next thing you know, you might be working out here in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles with all of the glitz and paparazzi. I mean, man, what a lifestyle it is, slaving away for my show for hours a day in a dark, dingy room. Wow, that's great. Well, I think I'm not selling this right. Okay, go over to dailywire.com/careers and go check it out if you're interested in working here. Also, please subscribe at YouTube and iTunes. Please leave us a review. It always helps us. We are the fastest growing and largest conservative podcast and radio show in the nation.